Awesome, everyone. Well, welcome to the call tonight, and thank you all for taking the time to join us. Rachel and I are fired up to share with you this revolutionary phototherapy technology that we were just introduced to 20 months ago. We absolutely love sharing this unconventional healing modality because we have seen with our own eyes what this has done for us, for our family, the people we have shared this with. So we're going to kick it off momentarily, but just a little bit about who we are. So I am Beth Blackmore. I'm a health and empowerment coach. I started getting really passionate about my health it'll be 7 years in March when I woke up from my program mind, chose to do something about it. I started making substantial lifestyle changes, food choices, eating habits, lost 60 pounds. I ended up leaving my government career in HR due to a lack of medical freedom a few years ago. And I turned my passion to help others into a coaching business. So I consider myself a lifelong learner, being open to new information and embracing change. And so when a good friend of mine reached out to me about a light patch, I was definitely intrigued. I invited Rachel on a call May of 2024. And we were excited about what we had our hands on, including the science, the company Lifewave, and life-changing testimonials. So I signed up pretty much right away and did what any good daughter would do. I patched my mom. She had been experiencing knee pain for years, and within a few days, she noticed relief. She was going to physiotherapy 3 times a week, and the physiotherapist noticed more mobility, less inflammation. She wondered what she was doing differently, what supplements she was taking. And the only thing that had changed was this light patch that her daughter stuck on her. But it did not stop there. My mom started sleeping better. She had more energy. She got back to being active and doing the things that she loves doing, walking and gardening and swimming and keeping up with the younger grandkids. And for me, there is no going back. The first thing that I noticed was that I was finally able to sleep through the night, having vivid dreams, which is unheard of for me. I also used to have this lower back compression pain, this tightness in my lower back that I had dealt with for years, likely due to poor posture sitting in a government desk all those years. It was really bad when I would walk for long periods of time or stand. But within a week of patching, I no longer experience this pain at all. My energy, my mental clarity, my focus have improved. I also noticed this sense of calm, so not as anxious in this crazy world. But really, what fires me up is that I know that the best is yet to come. My body is healing and repairing and age reversing. There's also an incredibly exciting financial opportunity with the trajectory of this company. So, more on that a little bit later. But I would love to invite my good friend and co-host, Rachel Maurice, to introduce herself and share her story with you all tonight.
Thanks, Beth. It never gets old hearing your story, so it's exciting. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Rachel Maurice, and I worked as an anesthesiologist in Canada for close to 20 years. I left in 2021 when I decided that I wanted to be able to make my own choices over my medical decisions. And I didn't think that I'd be gone for very long, but in the time that I left, I had more time to do a lot more research and doing a lot of uncovering and digging, and ended up coming across something that was completely shocking to me, an entirely new paradigm of how the body works from what I was taught in my conventional medical school education. And by that, I mean that we were taught that the biochemistry runs the body and the body is physical in nature. And I spent 25 years in the operating room, basically focusing on the physical nature of the body and manipulating the biochemistry, the physiology. But that is actually one means of communication. It's actually the slowest means of communication in the body, the biochemistry. But upstream from that, what signals every single physiologic process in the body at the most upstream point is light. So light is information, light is the signal. It tells the body what to do and when at the most upstream point. So basically, it works at light speed, which makes sense. So I started doing a bunch of research, deep diving into light and red light panels. As you can tell, I'm bathing in red here because it's after sunset. It's completely dark. Light became this thing. I completely changed my entire lifestyle to align with how the body actually works. And I ended up learning a lot more about mitochondria, being at the center. We know that they produce energy. That's the powerhouses of the cell that we hear about in high school, but they actually do so much more. And in that, I ended up coming across these patches. I didn't investigate them at first. I actually waited a year before I came across someone who I knew, and I knew them personally. And to my surprise, the changes that she had had, I asked what she was doing, and she said she used these patches. And I said, okay, I have to investigate now. And that's when I realized that they are very different from the red light panels. Some people actually think that they are similar and do the same thing. They do not. They are very different from red light panels. So I became very excited because the reintroduction, actually, there's a few more steps that happen, but ended up connecting me with the person that Beth had got me on the call with. And she was, Diane Hunt, was a cardiac surgical nurse for 20 years. And it just so happens my mom's health was declining to the point where her doctors were talking about heart surgery. Now, having spent 25 years in the operating room, I know what I've seen, and I would avoid surgery if at all possible. And I did not, my mom was not a good candidate, and I knew the potential risks for heart surgery. So I wanted to see if we could avoid that at all costs. And with these patches, what Diane Hunt not only shared with me stories, but shared investigations like echocardiograms and ECGs showing that people who had been in heart failure, significant heart failure after wearing these patches for 8, 10, 12 months, were no longer in heart failure to the degree that I have never seen in my 30-year career in medicine. So that I'm not saying that lightly. I actually mean that, without an artificial pump being put in the heart. So that alone for me was, especially knowing nothing's entering the body, there's no contraindications. We're going to get into all that stuff, but it's all natural. There's no potential for problems to happen. There's really no downside. So we got my mom started. I prepared her to have patience because are we are in a society where we've been conditioned to want instant results and for things to happen so quickly and overnight. My mom's no different. So I prepared her to be on it for a year, and I was shocked that within 2 weeks we went from, because she lives where I live and we go walking regularly, she went from having to stop every 2 to 3 steps to catch her breath from the heart failure to walking with me for 20 to 30 minutes at a time on an incline while talking to me at the same time. Again, that was completely mind-blowing to me because it didn't make any sense from the old paradigm of understanding how the body works. It now does from this new paradigm, but she also, within 3 weeks, had to have her thyroid medication lowered that she had been on for over 30 years. Her doctor did that. So that wasn't anything I was going to be tampering with. And a lot more things resolved. She had the skin issues from medications that she was on. It basically 80% cleared up very quickly. Spider veins disappearing, varicose veins diminishing. Her energy and her vitality was so obvious that a lot of her friends were asking what she was doing. She just said, well, my daughter has me on these patches. And some of them were like, get me on them. They didn't even ask any questions. They were just like, whatever you're doing, I want it. So that's what got started. And I will pass it back to Beth, and I will share my story afterwards. And I'm just keeping in mind the time. Yeah, we can share more after we get through the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to get into why people are experiencing such amazing benefits and life transformations when it comes to their health. So we are going to dive into how your own light that you emit can activate your own body's natural and powerful ability to heal. And before we get too much further, I do want to say at the outset that Lifewave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. So this patch is not a medical device that requires FDA to approve it. It is considered actually a general wellness product by the FDA. All right, so did you know? So this is the crux of the problem here that we experience as we age, that our stem cells actually go dormant. So by the age of 30, healthy stem cells decrease by 60%. By 60 years old, those healthy stem cells decrease by 90%. And unfortunately, not only is the natural aging process contributing to our decline in health, but unfortunately, the world that we live in, the modern age of convenience, of consumerism, we are inundated with toxins and chemicals and poisons in the air, in the water, in the food, in the man-made synthetic radiation everywhere. And all of this leads to cellular dysfunction. And our bodies require healthy, active stem cells to heal and repair the body. The fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. And this is something I did not know, 20 months ago, that stem cells are the undifferentiated cells that can become any cell in our body, from our heart cells to our lung cells to our liver cells, our hair cells, even our brain cells. And who doesn't need more brain cells these days? We've heard of stem cell therapy, but where do those stem cells come from? Where are they sourced from? Stem cell treatment, we know it to be pricey. It's not accessible, right? It's not available. It can have a huge risk to it, and it's invasive. I actually heard a stat that it's actually only 50% effective because they only stay local to the injection site. So this is why regenerating your own stem cells within you is so exciting, and why this phototherapy patch is such a powerful option. So phototherapy, or healing with light, is nothing new, right? We're hearing more and more about biohacking these days with red light panels, infrared saunas, but phototherapy is something that all living beings depend on, right? The original light therapy, that big glowing ball in the sky, the sun signals our bodies to make vitamin D, which is essential to our health. But photobiomodulation is a specific type of light therapy or phototherapy that uses specific wavelengths of light to stimulate cells that promote the healing process, boosting energy production, reducing inflammation, improving blood flow. It also helps with tissue repair. And so what's exciting about this type of light therapy is that it is now accessible. It's not invasive, it's affordable, and it's risk-free. And so what if these little wearable phototherapy patches are also capable of increasing a naturally occurring copper peptide in the body? Well, that is exactly what this patch does. So through this process of photobiomodulation, this little light patch increases the production of human GHKCU copper peptide. This is our own copper peptide. It is known as the holy grail of age reversal. So this is not synthetic peptides that you are injecting. These are not exogenous. They are your own naturally occurring, but unfortunately, just like with stem cells, they also decrease with age. So this unique copper peptide was isolated back in the 70s by Lauren Picard. He's a PhD and researcher. And so there is 50 years of research to back it up. You can research for yourself, find all kinds of studies on pubmed.gov, which is an online repository of scientific research. So some of the amazing benefits that we know about GHKCU is that it boosts collagen and elastin. And again, this is our own. It supports our tissue repair and regeneration. It's known to have multiple anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, anti-pain, and even anti-cancer properties. GHKCU is also known to reset over 4,000 genes in our genome. So basically resetting your DNA to a younger, healthier state. But what is truly exciting, and that the research shows, is that GHKCU reactivates our own dormant stem cells. And it does this through the power of this patch. So the flagship X39 patch from Lifewave is a wearable phototherapy patch about the size of a quarter. It consists of 5 organic materials, amino acids, sugar, water, oxygen, and salt that form this crystal lattice structure that reflects these wavelengths of light. And what I love about it, and what is counter to anything that we've been exposed to in the conventional medical system, is that there is nothing on this patch going into your skin, into your body. Nothing is being consumed, nothing is being absorbed, because these are non-transdermal. Right? They are latex free. They do not contain any drugs or chemicals or stimulants. And so there are no contraindications, meaning that they do not interfere with any medications. It is a completely different mechanism from what we are used to. And so this patented product uses this process of photobiomodulation. So it's activated by your body's own infrared heat, We are all light beings. We all emit this low level infrared light. So think of this little patch as a mirror, reflecting specific light frequencies back into the body, signaling biological changes at the cellular level, including upregulating GHKCU and reactivating those dormant stem cells. So now that you know how it works, I'm going to pass it along to Rachel to share with you the benefits that you could experience with the X39.
Thanks, Beth. And while it says here the benefits of the X39, I just want to emphasize that the X39 is signaling our body to increase that special copper peptide Beth was talking about, the GHKCU. So these are really the benefits of the GHKCU that you could go research up on that Lauren Picard. There's 50 years of research on that. You could actually go into PubMed and search up GHKCU and find these things in there. So it helps with reducing inflammation and pain. And for those not aware, inflammation is fundamental to almost all chronic diseases. So being able to reduce inflammation allows our body and for us to feel like those symptoms are either diminishing or even going away altogether. And pain is a huge issue, chronic pain, acute pain, chronic pain, but in anesthesia, we have a subspecialty for chronic pain. And I can tell you it is huge. It is so pervasive. I know the last stat I looked at, 30% of the population walks around with chronic back pain. That's only back pain. There are so many other pain conditions. So imagine being able to alleviate some of that, if not all of that, what that could do to your life. Improves strength, stamina, and energy levels. And that's not only for people who have diminished strength, stamina, and energy, but even for people who are looking to take their athletic performance to the next level, like Olympic athletes or professional sports players. Improved muscle and bone density, which is something that decreases as we age, improves mental clarity and reduces stress. And that is a big one. That's something that I really noticed. And many people that I've shared with have commented on the mental clarity, the fog, the brain fog lifting, the ability to remember things, the ability to articulate and form sentences again. And reducing stress is a really big one. Now, stress is something that is really undervalued in medicine, although a lot of physicians and other healthcare practitioners talk about stress and trying to reduce it. There really is a component that translates into the physical nature. So when you are emotionally, mentally stressed, that actually translates into our body being stressed by that and showing symptoms beyond what we think in our mind. So there's also chemical stresses, there are biological stresses, physical stresses, as well as electrical non-native EMF stresses. Balancing hormones and easing anxiety. That's something that in my age group, I hear a lot about from the ladies. It's a huge issue. And there are a lot of medications out there that people are using for these. So imagine being able to not have to use medications and getting that balancing of the hormones through the natural ability of our body to do what it's designed to do, getting the right signal. Improves hair growth and skin appearance. And I like to touch on this a little bit deeper because this speaks to the increase in collagen that comes with the GHKC, which is one of the first things that was discovered. And now most of us attribute, because of the emphasis that is placed on collagen, having to do with aesthetics, having to do with their skin, tightening of skin, reducing wrinkles, being more hydrated, as well as hair growth and nails. But collagen goes so much deeper. It's actually the most abundant protein in the body. It comprises 70% of the protein in the body, and it actually makes up the entire infrastructure, the skeleton of not just the physical part of the body, but actually it reaches inside each cell, the cytoskeleton inside each cell. And the reason this is important, aside from being able to hold the organs in place and such, is the water that's in our body is structured very differently from the water that we drink. And the collagen, actually the water is structured beside every biological system or surface, but the collagen is running throughout our entire body. It's like a web throughout our body and touches every single cell, including inside the cell, like I mentioned. And so that special water structure actually allows communication of light. That is how light travels and communicates in the body. So it's actually our communication superhighway, that whole collagen network. So now you increase collagen, you're actually able to increase the not only the function, the amount and the ability for that communication to happen. And communication is everything when it comes to health. We know that you don't even have to know about the body. Just look around in all the different systems we have, the education system or the financial system or the political system. When communication, family systems, when communication breaks down, everything goes to pot. There's chaos. We need great communication for things to run smoothly. Same goes with the body. It promotes cellular repair and wound healing and improves sleep quality. And sleep quality is another one that often gets dismissed or not really valued as much as it should be. Most of the repair that takes place in our body occurs when we are sleeping. So the quality of the sleep is extremely important. If we're not getting that good quality, we are not going to repair the way we should be or the way we want to be to get back to optimal living. And the long-term results for, again, the GHKCU, within the first few days, and these are studies that have been done, over 4,000 genes begin to reset to a younger state. So my question when I heard that was, well, what exactly does that mean? And the way it was explained to me, which hopefully will land with you, is imagine you are a photographer and you want to produce a beautiful image. You have to have the right lighting. So you have to have all this equipment and the lighting, different lights in different parts of the room, shining in different ways, different brightness, with those umbrellas, etc. So that you get this beautiful image. That's like when we're younger and we are expressing everything how it should be. As the years go by, as we age, I don't even like to say that anymore, as we age, as the years go by, as the years go on, things start to break down. There's wear and tear. And so imagine all of that equipment that you do the photography with, some of the umbrella fabric is ripped or some of the light is, some of the filaments aren't working as well. You're not going to get that same beautiful image of the photograph when you take it. And so it's like repairing the equipment, getting new equipment, you are going to get that beautiful image again. So that is an analogy that can be used to explain what that means to reset the genes. And over 4,000, I believe it's 4,192 genes, is a massive amount of genes to reset because we only have about 20,000 genes in our genome, which is the same as about a fruit fly, which is interesting. But 4,000 out of 20,000, again, it's a massive amount. And just to give even more context to that, many of us know about supplements and the one called resveratrol that's found in red wine that they've bottled and put in the health food store. You can go out and buy that. Well, the attention that's been given to resveratrol is because it resets 2 genes. So 2, and it's got all this attention. This resets over 4,000. Within 6 weeks, the brain becomes more balanced. So what does that mean? That actually means the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain are speaking to each other. And again, communication is the name of the game for us to be able to express health properly. Within 3 months, collagen is increased. I touched on that. And within 6 months, the heart reverses in age. And I love David Schmidt's quote, it's not anti-aging, it's age reversal. So how to wear it. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. And the reason is because I have shifted the way I help people from that traditional approach to doing anesthesia and surgeries to helping people with their lifestyle. And probably everyone on the call knows for themselves and for other people that they talk to, it is really difficult for people to change their lifestyle, even one habit at a time, implementing one habit and doing it the way we would want to be doing it. It takes effort, it takes time, it takes motivation. Sometimes it takes cost. This is, quite frankly, the simplest thing that I have ever come across for people to be able to do. It is a sticker you peel off the backing, you put it on your body in the morning, you wear it for 12 hours, and then you take it off at the end of the day, 12 hours later. And it doesn't interfere with anything. It doesn't take up any time. It doesn't cause any problems. You don't have any limitations with what you can do while you're wearing it. You merely go about your day do everything, you put it on and you take it off. It's that simple. You want to make sure you wear it during the day because it does increase energy, not at night, this particular one, the X39. You also, for how long you want to wear it, this is something that comes up regularly. It's not like a medication where you take the medication, you stop the medication, and suddenly whatever symptom you were suppressing comes back, because this actually helps your body do the healing. So the research has shown that 97% of people see some type of change after 90 days. Now, some people are one patch wonders, like the person who enrolled Beth and I, Diane Hunt, literally, and same with one of my mom's friends. But everyone's different. Some people it takes a week, a few weeks, even months. Sometimes it might even take more than 3 months, but it does say that 97% of people see an effect by 90 days. You really want to commit to a minimum of 90 days. The recommendation is a month for every decade that you have been alive, but really you do want to commit to at least 6 months, 6 to 12 months, because the longer you stay on it, the more miracles you start to see, things that you don't even realize are happening or didn't even cause problems. Just a quick example. I hope people don't get grossed out by this. Nothing grosses me out from coming from medicine, but I used to swim when I was younger, got athlete's foot, went into my nails, had to take oral antifungals, topical antifungals. Nothing worked. Absolutely nothing worked. After 8 months, 8 to 10 months of wearing these patches, my toenails are starting to clear up. I just didn't even think about that, right? Wasn't causing a problem in my day. So if you are anything like me, I am someone who would rather prevent disease from happening, because it's much easier to prevent something, a problem from happening, than to try to correct it. So this is my prevention strategy. Our world today is not the world that our body was designed to live under. There are so many more stresses, so many more stresses on our body from stuff that's in our food, in our water, in the air. And we are being bombarded by stuff on a daily basis. So our body, to me, needs a little more support. And again, everything that I've seen in 30 years of medicine, being in the hospital, if I can do something as natural and simple and safe as this to help my body and prevent myself from getting into a position where I'd have to do something in the hospital, I'm going to do it, especially at this cost. So after the 12 hours, you remove it. It is a daily disposable patch. And if anyone has a question as to why it's daily disposable, I can answer that after. But there's still a little bit of life left in after the 12 hours. So you can put it on your pet. I do that. I put it on my dog's collar. Some people have put it on their plants or in their plants. And I actually have a story of someone who this plant bloomed after 12 years of not doing anything after these patches being, the used patch being put on the leaf. So there's no placebo there for those who are questioning that. And you want to make sure that you drink plenty of water with electrolytes, not just water. So hydration is a very interesting thing, and it's well beyond actually drinking water. But if we just drank straight water without electrolytes, most of that water would go straight through us and into the toilet. The electrolytes are something that helps hold the water in the body, as well as add to the negative charge that we actually run on. So we are a battery, and we actually run with a negative charge, a negative voltage. And so that's important. So I'm not saying that you have to go out and buy electrolytes. A lot of us who use the patches actually just put some type of unrefined salt into our water. And so the reason I say unrefined is it still has all of the minerals attached to it. You don't want table salt, because that's stripped of all the minerals. That's just sodium and chloride and probably added iodide. You want some unrefined salt. You also want to make sure that you focus on making sure there's adequate copper in your diet. And I say that because in the early 1900s, we didn't have to think about it. We didn't have to think about a lot of things back then, but agricultural practices have changed such that so many nutrients are stripped from our foods. So we actually have to pay attention to making sure we get copper in our diet. And like making a cake, right? We want our body to make that GHKCU. And so that's 3 amino acids, glycine, histidine, and lysine, and Cu is copper. So we got to have all the ingredients to make the cake. I don't know about you, but I have sometimes forgotten and left out that quarter teaspoon of salt in the cake. And let me tell you, that cake does not taste the same with that tiny amount of salt. So copper is important. And I'll just give examples of some copper-rich foods. At the top of the list are organ meats, everyone's favorite, right? I actually give desiccated organ meat capsules for my kids because they're not going to eat any of the organ meats. If you like oysters, I wish I did, but they are a superfood all around. Oysters are rich in so much, as well as copper, and seafood and shellfish as well. And for those who don't eat any of those, avocado is rich in copper. Again, these are just some foods. Nuts and seeds, so in particular cashews for the nuts, but you just need a handful, not an overabundance. And then probably everyone's favorite, the piece of dark chocolate. A little square of dark chocolate has plenty of copper in it. And so what to expect, this is also an interesting one. It ties into the making sure you commit to 90 days at least, but really we want 6 to 12 months, if not longer, depending on what your goal is. And we look at the body not like modern medicine has described in terms of naming with all these diseases. There's over in the Merck manual, I think there's over 36,000 named diseases. And then when things come up that are an unknown or don't fit the same constellation, a new name is given, right? It's just a name. Everything boils down to cellular dysfunction. It's just a matter of where and how those cells are not functioning. So we want to restore cellular function, and that's what we are doing with these patches. But we look at, instead of, again, focusing on the name of the disease, just look at whether you're having issues with your brain, whether it's cognition, brain fog, memory, and joint issues or discomfort, gut issues, those kind of things, kidney issues, blood sugar. And you want to write those down and make sure to actually list all the problems, because it's amazing when certain things get resolved. If you haven't written it down, you will have forgotten that you actually had a problem with it. It's very surprising. Even people who've had big issues seem to have forgotten once those issues have disappeared. Then they focused on the other issues that are going on in the body. So write them down so you can take note of them. And also comparison. I know it's say comparison is a thief of joy, but here, comparison, everyone is different. Every single person's body is different. We come to this planet with a different set of genetic instructions. We've been on the earth a different number of years. We've grown up in different environments. We've had different exposures to stress, and whether there are other stressors in our lives, physical, mental, emotional, or abuse as well, traumas. Everyone is different. So everyone's body needs healing in a different way. And each person's body knows exactly what to do for them. So while you're looking at someone else who, for example, might have resolved their headache issue within a couple of months, and you're sitting there 6 months later still with a problem, thinking, well, what's wrong with me? Your body is actually working on other things in you, and you might not necessarily feel those things. Your body has a wisdom I don't think we will ever understand, nor do I think we should start to be going down the pathway of really diving deep into it. Again, I don't think we would ever really figure it out, but it knows what to do, what to heal, in what priority. And so just trust that things are happening. We don't feel everything that takes place in the body. We've got 100,000 reactions going on at minimum in every single cell, every second of the day. We're not feeling everything that's taking place. So again, our body is doing a lot of work we might not feel. So if you don't notice anything, you don't feel anything, it does not mean nothing is happening. We already have 4 people on our team that we know of who had been in renal failure, kidney failure, wearing these patches for between 6 and 8 months, no longer in kidney failure, but they did not feel a thing. When you've got some issue that is that degree and that severity, you're followed by a specialist. And that is the reason they know they are no longer in kidney failure. Because if they had just gone by what they felt, they would have stopped the patches and said, I didn't feel anything, they aren't working. That's not true. If you're tired, it means it's working. And the reason is because we produce a certain amount of energy that we need just for our bodies to run, to do all the functions it normally needs to do. Most of us run on overtime, and we're actually using more than we have for reserves. And so when you are healing, when your body starts to heal, that requires a lot more extra energy. So your body's actually telling you, hey, we need you to slow down. Don't expend so much energy with your muscles or with all this other extra work you're doing. We need to focus that energy on the healing. So honor that, honor the fatigue, make sure you're getting the sleep, make sure you're getting the rest, and allow yourself that so that the healing can take place. You want to make sure that you are focusing on breathing properly as well. That's a big thing. I'm not going to get into detail here, but most of us actually do breathe improperly. We are supposed to breathe from our diaphragm that allows the oxygen, and our nose that allows the oxygen to come into the bottom parts of our lungs where most of the blood is, so the oxygen can get picked up. But most of us actually breathe from our upper chest and our accessory muscles in our neck, and we're not actually, and mouth breathers. So there's a whole aspect of activating the stress response by mouth breathing. If you focus on just trying to breathe through your nose, that alone will activate the diaphragm as well. We're meant to breathe through our nose. So I would just add that as something to tuck in the back of your mind. So here we have some images of real results and real change. And on the left-hand side, that's actually someone on our team. And you can see that is over a span of 6 months. So you can see on the left-hand image, down the midline, the hairline, there is some hair that is missing, or less hair. All the way over to the right-hand side, there's some hair growth that has come in. That's something for me that's been huge as well. My hair has been growing so quickly, I can't even keep up with cutting it. On the right-hand side, this lady, this gets me every time. She's got a curvature of the spine that has been termed scoliosis. And this says, as you can see the image, it's really her back is straightened out. It's only 4 weeks of using the X39. And it says there's Icewave as well. That is one of the other patches that was created before the X39, and that's strictly for pain relief. So that has nothing to do with the regeneration or the straightening that's taken place right there. And here on the left-hand side, we have an image of a lady who has what's called vitiligo. And that is just when you have areas of depigmentation where there's a lack of melanin in the skin. You can see on the left-hand side, there's whitish in the middle, and then there's brown spots, sort of more of the periphery. And on the right-hand side, she tried everything. Nothing worked until she tried the X39. And you can see, while there's a different color to the image, that's not what's important. What's important is the fact that she's got a nice uniform color to her back. There isn't that patchy any area where there's patchy lack of pigment. So it's nice and uniform. On the right-hand side, this is a knee. If you haven't seen this before, it's actually after a knee replacement. And this person wore the patch for only 2 days. That is significantly rapid wound healing. I know there's one of the ophthalmologists who's also a plastic surgeon who's using the patches, and he puts them on every single patient preoperatively and postoperatively, because he said the wound healing that he used to see taking 3 months, now he sees that speed of wound healing in 3 weeks. And here we have a brain scan of a 77-year-old woman. And this, again, I was talking about coherence, and we want the brain, the left side and the right side of the brain speaking to each other. On the left-hand side, this was before she was using the X39, so she had not put any patch on. There's a lot of red there, and that shows inflammation. And there's some dark blue, which is low activity, but there's a very minimal light blue and green, which is coherence, which means communication. In the middle image, we see that is only 3 weeks after wearing the X39. That's a very short period of time. Just think about when you go to a doctor and they put you on a medication, how long they tell you before you're going to see anything. So 3 weeks is a very short period of time. There's no more red. There's no more inflammation showing up in this woman's brain. That's remarkable. There's a little more of the light blue and green, which again is coherence, which means communication. And on the right-hand side, that is 6 weeks of using the X39. Again, no inflammation, no red. And now there's a lot more of that light blue and green coming in. And again, that is coherence and that is proper communication, which is the name of the game.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel. So now we are going to present to you the incredible man behind this technology. And we absolutely love sharing the genius of David Schmidt. He is the CEO of this 20-year-old company. He actually started out working for the US government, and he was part of the Navy SEAL survival program where he was creating something that could keep the SEALs alert, mentally focused on these missions that lasted 36 hours. And that's where the first patch of Lifewave was actually born. That was his first patent. He now has over 200 patents to his name. Then through his networks, his connections, David found himself at Stanford University patching the US women's Olympic swim team. They ended up having amazing success with it. They all set personal records. This was 20 years ago. Then in 2008, David turned his attention to stem cell research, knowing that the future of medicine, regenerative science was in stem cells. And so he began to figure out a way that he could leverage the natural stem cells that are inside the human body. So by 2020, after 10 years of research, $4.5 million later, he had received a 20-year patent on this X39, which is the only phototherapy patch that activates dormant stem cells. And so this resulted in tremendous growth for the company, closing out 2024 over $600 million. So a 3,000% growth rate in 4 years. And so Lifewave has been recognized for this massive growth by Direct Selling News with the Bravo Growth Award. They are all about honoring companies with the highest year-over-year revenue growth on the Global 100 list. So companies that are not only scaling their businesses, but setting new benchmarks for the entire industry. We have received the Bravo Growth Award for 2 years in a row now. It doesn't stop there. Lifewave just earned one of the top recognitions in biotech and life sciences among the industry giants, which includes thousands of nominations from over 15 countries. So Lifewave product won the Stem Cell Innovation of the Year Award in 2025. This is a huge breakthrough award for Lifewave in the area of life sciences and biotech markets. So there really is no competition out there in the market. This is a novel product. No one else has this. And there's no competition because the X39 holds this 20-year patent. So there is a 22-page patent, but this one paragraph really says it all. Elevates copper peptide, activates stem cells, improvements in strength, stamina, and pain relief. And so the patent is on that structure, the material that I talked about earlier, where the patch reflects these specific frequencies of light back into the body. They had to prove that it works. And so clinical studies were done that shows the significant increase in the production of copper peptide GHKCU, and it was measured through blood samples, urine analysis, other lab analysis. I encourage you to check out the patent, the studies. There's amazing videos, all at that website in the bottom corner, right-hand corner. This is it, info.com. There are many videos explaining the technology, David Schmidt being interviewed, doctors being interviewed, really powerful testimonials there that you can check out as well. Everything from neuropathy to lung improvement to sleep to inflammation to hearing. You can check it out. This is at info.com. And so what we've introduced you to tonight really goes far beyond the surface because we know it's not just about less pain or more energy. It's about what that healing will allow you to do in life. It allows you to thrive. So with more confidence, more energy, feeling better from the inside out. And for some, it could also be easing of finances and potentially financial freedom with the momentum of this company. And so just simply sharing with friends and family, you can offset the cost of your patches, maybe make a bill payment, or live a life with more ease, maybe even a life of abundance. This is the power of the patch. So let me share with you how you can get started. Lifewave offers 3 enrollment options. These prices are in US dollars for a month's worth of patches. So there are 30 patches in this envelope, in this sleeve, we call it. So first you can enroll as a retail customer, paying full pop. We see practitioners do this in the States. They set themselves up like this, offering this to their patients. But of course, we want to promote getting the wholesale price of $99 US. So then you have two options. You can enroll as a preferred customer, commit to a monthly subscription, or as a brand partner. And we typically recommend the brand partner option because not only can you take advantage of the wholesale price, but you can also secure a spot on the team, can leverage the incredible momentum this company is experiencing by building a business without additional cost. No overhead, just the cost of your personal patches. And so what we often see is that people begin to experience success with the products. They naturally share them with others where they can earn a commission. Sometimes they end up building a full-time business. We have many people on our team, including Rachel and I, that are building successful businesses. And so signing up as a brand partner, there's no pressure to share or build a business, nor is there an additional investment. Again, it's just the cost of your personal patches. So there are 4 enrollment kits available. As you can see with these packages, the more that you purchase upon signing up, the better the value. The cost of the sleeves comes down considerably for your initial order. You can upgrade anytime through those enrollment kits, and you are just paying the difference and receiving the difference in the number of sleeves. That way you can have some on hand to share with friends and family, your aging parents, loan them out to people as they wait for their order to come in. Having extra sleeves on hand is great to set you up for success right out of the gate. We have a very attractive compensation plan for those interested in sharing the product. We actually launched Comp 2.0. So this comp plan is even more generous, set up for the long game. It's actually a hybrid comp plan where it's actually a binary where you're building 2 teams, a left team and a right team, and you also get paid in unilevel now, which is very unique in this market. So we are committed to helping you be successful if that is what your goal is. And we really do have an incredible leadership team that you too can leverage. So this company is on this massive trajectory. Our team is #1 in the whole company. It has incredible leadership, supports and training and systems in place to grow your business. You do not need any experience in sales or network marketing. It's really all about helping people with the freedom model, right? With health being at the foundation of it all. So we hope that we provided you some, good solid information to consider incorporating this revolutionary phototherapy patch to optimize your health. We do encourage you to reach back out to the person that invited you on the call tonight. I think we may have time for a couple of testimonials tonight. We do have a hard stop in about 10 minutes. I would ask if we call on you, and I appreciate you being here, that you keep it to 1 or 2 minutes. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but just wanted to let you know that, reaching back out for questions to the person that invited you on this call, and they can definitely help you out with that. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I know that Deb is on the call tonight, and Deb, if you're able to unmute and share your story, that would be so appreciated. Thank you.
Hi. So I have been on the patch coming up a year in another week. And when I originally wanted to get on the patches, I was just having such terrible sleep and it was getting beyond ridiculous. So I got on this patch and I was not a one patch wonder by any stretch. It took about 3 months and I finally it's just like a switch went. And I was sleeping through the night and have been ever since. In the meantime, what I realized was that it was helping my sciatic because I was running up and down, well, I wasn't running. I was holding onto the handrail, going up and down the stairs because my sciatica was so bad. And then I noticed one day I wasn't using the handrail and didn't realize that, that had helped that. So what else has come for me is I've had some skin takes fall off. My focus has cleared up, so the brain fog is gone. Very energetic. A big one for me was I came off my thyroid support, and that took me, for me personally, it took about nine-ish, 10 months. And I've come off my thyroid support and I'm good. My glasses here, my prescription has been reduced once already. So that's huge for me. So I'm just going to keep working on that. And I had also gone to the doctor about a year ago. No, yeah, about that. Had some blood tests done. And he said there was some markers around my heart just to keep an eye on. And that's no more. So I'm thrilled. The patches for me are a part of my life, and that's the way it's going to stay. So
Awesome,
thank you.
Deb. Thanks so much for sharing. And I know that your sleep is on par now too, which is amazing, which is the whole
Yeah,
reason why you started it. And so lots of
mhm,
healing and repair going on during that good quality sleep. Thanks so much for sharing tonight, Deb.
you bet.
Awesome. Mary, I'd love for you to unmute yourself and share your story tonight.
Hello.
Hello.
Um, yeah, I'm happy to share. Thank you. Well, I too have been patching for almost, or actually, right, almost a year exactly. I put my first patch on in November, on November 26th, but I only had about 10 patches for the course of the first month and a half. November 26th, 2024, that was. So 2023, I was sick, and unwell, but still working. But all of 2024, I was off on stress leave with full burnout, and I was swelled up like I had congestive heart failure. The doctor couldn't figure out what was going on. Had heart palpitations. I wasn't getting full breaths. My energy level was tanked. I could barely get a meal for myself and my kids. I working very minimally, just one or two appointments a week, I could handle. And after I started patching, I was one of those one patch wonders that Beth is talking about. So within 12 hours, like 70% of my inflammation was gone out of my legs and feet. And I was flabbergasted. Oh, Beth has the before and after picture. So the picture on the left, I lived like that for 2 years, thereabouts. And then the second picture is after patching for less than a month. I took that second picture. And talk about inflammation being uncomfortable. I was miserable with that level of inflammation in my body. So very quickly, my mood lifted. I didn't realize how stressed I had been on survival mode, and I caught myself laughing and having fun with my kids, and it actually was foreign to me. I sat down, I was like, I don't believe what I'm laughing, and I couldn't remember the last time I had been laughing. My mood is level and calm. I feel adaptable to my environment and my situation. I can deal with problems when they come up and without getting overwhelmed. My voice is cleared and increased in range for singing. I can do, this came a little bit later, I can do a full squat and sit in a squat, and my knees don't hurt when I get up, and they're not even cracking anymore when I get up. And my knees were bad. I played varsity volleyball, and they, they, they sounded like popcorn, and they were not comfortable to get up and down in a squat. Um, I have creative ideas popping into my head again, which I think that's brain fog lifting and just coming back to a better state of the brain coherence. Um, oh, that's a good amount of stuff. Back discomfort is gone. I'm back to playing volleyball again and comfortable doing so. So it's I could tell you more, but that's lots. So
That's amazing. Yes, check, check, check. Love hearing your story, Mary. It never gets old for me. So thank you so much for jumping on the call tonight and sharing with
yeah.
everybody. Okay, I think we have time for one more. Anne Louise, would you like to share tonight? I'd love for you to unmute.
I can.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi. So very quickly, because I'm looking at the clock, a lot of the same things that everyone else has mentioned, especially about the sleep. That was a very key thing for me. I signed up because of Rachel's dog, so I'm one of those people that my dog's anxiety went completely down after putting it on his collar. So besides the sleep, another cool thing for me has been my teeth. I have historically bad teeth, and for the first time in a year, I haven't had to go back. I haven't had cavities, anything like that. My IBS has calmed down. I should mention I've been on it for just over a year. Same thing around November I started. So the sleep pretty quick. The joints, my arthritis, I can open and close my hands without pain at all. And yeah, so that would be it. And my husband doesn't snore anymore. So that was a bonus. And so those things, yeah, joints, IBS, sleep, and a lot more, just like you said at the beginning. If you my big list, there's a huge one, but that's it in a minute.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing tonight. You've given a lot of hope to people, and I appreciate all of you for coming on to listen to these powerful testimonials and come with an open mind to learn about this revolutionary phototherapy patch. If you do have questions, please reach back out to the person that invited you on the call tonight. There is not time for Q&A, but please reach out to the person that invited you, and they will be able to answer your questions and to sign you up with the best package and pricing available for you. And I hope to see you on the team soon and hear your powerful testimonial. So I hope everyone has a great night. This video will be on YouTube a little bit later this evening, and you can have a look at it again and share it out. So I appreciate everybody being on the call tonight. Take care, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you all for coming tonight.